Okay, so fortunately the milk, part 4. You will remember that they were landing the balloon and they landed it on a platform surrounded by flaming torches and people with very black hair and sharp stone knives. Is this a balloon landing platform? I asked the people. It is not, said a fat man. It is our temple. We had a very bad harvest last year and we had just asked the gods to send us a sacrifice to make sure that this year's harvest will be better when you floated down in that thing with your monster. Thank you, by the way, said a little thin man. I was going to be the sacrifice if no one else turned up. Much obliged. So now we will sacrifice you and your monster. But my children are waiting for breakfast, I said. Look, I held up the milk. Why did they all just fall to their knees? Asked Professor Stegg. Is this unusual hairless mammal behaviour? Perhaps I should hold up some hard, hairy, wet, white crunchers and see what happens. Coconuts, I told him. They are called coconuts. What is that you're holding? The fat man asked. Milk, I said. Milk, they exclaimed, and they prostrated themselves on the ground. We have a prophecy, said the fat man, that when a man and a spiny-backed monster descend from the skies in a round floaty thing, floaty ball person carrier, said the little thin man. Ah, yes, of course. We were told that when that happened, if the man held up milk, then we were not to sacrifice them, but we were meant to take them to the volcano and give them a present. A green jewel that is the eye of Splod. Splod? He's the god of people with short, funny names. It is, I said, a remarkably specific sort of prophecy. When did you receive it? Last Wednesday, said the fat man proudly. The priest of Splod was woken up in the night by a voice whispering from the heavens, and when he went to look and see who it was, there was nobody there. Also, he was sleeping on top of the temple and nobody else could have been up there with him. So it must have either been Splod himself talking or one of his angelic messengers. We walked together down a jungle path. Professor Stegg held the rope in his mouth that led the balloon, and he dragged the balloon along. After half an hour, we reached a volcano. It was not a very big volcano. There were a few wisps of smoke coming from the top of it. On the side of the volcano was a big carving of a scary face with one eye in the middle of its forehead. The eye was the biggest emerald I had ever seen. A special shiny greeny stone, said Professor Stegg, with his mouth full of rope. The fat man clambered up the side of the volcano. It is a good thing that Splod himself told us to give you the eye of Splod, said the little thin man, who had narrowly avoided being sacrificed, because there is another prophecy that says if the eye of Splod is ever removed, Great Splod will awaken and spread burning destruction across the land. Here you go, said the fat man, and he handed us the emerald. Professor Stegg nipped up the rope ladder and into the balloon's basket and began to install the emerald in the time machine. Hang on, he was a stegosaurus. Yeah. Then how could he just nip up a rope ladder? He was, said my father, a large stegosaurus, but very light on his feet. There are big people who are excellent dancers. Are there any ponies in this? Asked my sister. I thought there'd be ponies by now. I was standing on the ground holding on to the rope ladder when the ground shook and a very small volcano began to belch smoke and lava. Splod is angry, shouted the little thin man. He wants his eye back. There was a rushing wind and the balloon jerked me up into the air high above the splurting lava. Unfortunately, I dropped the milk. I wasn't holding on to it tightly enough. It landed on top of Splod's head. Professor Stegg hauled up the rope ladder with his tail. I've lost the milk, I told him. That's no good, he admitted. But I know where it is. It's on top of Splod's head on the side of the volcano. Professor Stegg Professor Stegg said, "Good Splod, what on earth is that?" Before our eyes, another balloon, just like ours, hurried over the volcano. A man hurried down the ladder. He placed a large emerald in Splod's eye socket and picked up the milk from Splod's head, ran up the ladder, back into the balloon, and vanished.